Hi, Clara Bolin Elementary students. Mrs. Plank here, coming to you today to share our story. Today's March 17th, which is a holiday. I bet you knew that though. Maybe you wore green to school today. Maybe you talked about leprechauns and pots of gold. Today is St. Patrick's Day. And St. Patrick's Day is a holiday that comes all the way from a country across the ocean called Ireland. Now, Ireland is a country that's very, very old. And for that reason, there are many, many stories that come from Ireland. The story I'm going to share with you today is called Finn McCool and the Giant's Causeway. Finn McCool is a story that came from Ireland, and it's a folk tale. A folk tale is a story that is passed on generation after generation from family to family for many years, and it helps to explain something that's unexplainable. For example, did you know that there is a folk tale about the state of Michigan? Since Michigan is shaped like a mitten, there's a folk tale that says that many years ago, a giant named Paul Bunyan dropped his mitten in the snow, and that became our state. Finn McCool and the Giant's Causeway, the folktale comes because they're trying to explain why this thing exists, the Giant's Causeway. The Giant's Causeway is a part of Ireland, and it's made out of many stone shapes that are in the perfect hexagonal pattern. And they go out into the water, and then they stop. So someone in Ireland many years ago tried to explain why these perfectly shaped hexagons go all the way from Ireland out towards Scotland. So they decided to make up this story right here about a giant named Finn McCool. So let's read the story together. There was once an Irish giant called Finn McCool. He liked to fight the giants who lived in Scotland. So he built a pathway across the sea called a causeway from Ireland to Scotland. One day, Finn told a Scottish giant to come and fight him. When the Scottish giant started to cross the pathway, Finn realized that the Scottish giant was much bigger than he was, so he ran home to hide. When Finn got home, he jumped into the bathtub, and his wife, Saba, threw a blanket over him. Then there was a very loud knock at the door. When Saba opened the door, the giant boomed, "Where is Finn? I want to fight him." Saba replied, "Finn is out hunting, but you are welcome to come inside and wait." Saba pointed to a huge log leaning against the wall of the house. "You are welcome to leave your spear next to Finn's," she told the giant. Then Saba baked some bread for the giant, hiding a saucepan in the middle. When he bit into the pan, he broke his teeth. Saba smiled and said, "Well, this is the bread that Finn likes best." Then she told the giant that she needed to feed the baby. She threw some bread to Finn in the bathtub, and he moved under the blanket. The giant thought that Finn was the baby. The giant ran from the house crying, "If the baby is that big, then how big is his father?" He ran all the way back to Scotland across the pathway. Finn jumped out of the bathtub and chased after the giant, throwing rocks after him. He smashed up that pathway he had built so that only the jagged ends near the shoreline were left. The end. Once again, that's an example of an Irish folktale. A folktale being something that's passed on by generation to generation to try to explain something that maybe was once unexplainable. Now, with science, we know that the rocks were actually created by volcanoes millions of years ago. But if you look at them in person, they almost look too perfect to be made by volcanoes. So I bet you that is probably why the folktale started. Someone probably really thought that a giant built them at one point. I know because many years ago, I actually traveled all the way to Ireland to see the Giant's Causeway and to learn more about Irish folktale. So that's why these stories are so important to me. Anyway, once again, I hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day and that you enjoyed our story this week.